You'd expect a senior MP to treat one of the most horrific crimes in modern Britain with gravity. But what if, on national radio, they did the exact opposite? What followed sparked outrage across the country, furious apologies, and now a public dressing down from within their own party. Let's break it down, but first, hit the like button and subscribe for more. This is the kind of political disgrace that leaves a stain not just on one MP, but on an entire party. Commons leader Lucy Powell is now at the centre of a growing political firestorm after her flippant and frankly disgusting remarks about grooming gangs triggered a wave of public outrage. But now even her own party is turning on her. Health Secretary Wes Streeting has publicly rebuked Powell, describing her comments as, quote, indefensible. In an interview with the media, Streeting confirmed what most of the country was already thinking. The comments that Lucy made were indefensible, and she's not defending those comments. He went on to say that Powell is mortified by what she said during a live appearance on BBC Radio 4. And while that might be true, the damage has already been done. Let's be absolutely clear about what happened. Powell was appearing on Any Questions, sitting alongside Tory party co-chairman Nigel Huddleston, Lib Dem MP Helen Morgan, and commentator Tim Montgomery. The conversation turned to the subject of grooming gangs following a recent and powerful Channel 4 documentary which exposed horrific accounts of young girls being systematically abused and silenced. Montgomery raised the issue, and Powell's response, she smirked and said, "Oh, we want to blow that little trumpet now, do we? Let's get that dog whistle out, shall we?" That one sentence sparked instant fury. This wasn't just tone deaf, it was a slap in the face to the victims, many of whom have spent years being ignored, dismissed, or outright gaslit by authorities. To frame the exposure of industrial-scale child exploitation as a dog whistle is not only offensive, it's deeply revealing. It tells you exactly where the priorities lie for certain politicians. Powell later tried to walk it back, posting a hasty apology on social media. She wrote, "In the heat of a discussion, I would like to clarify that I regard issues of child exploitation and grooming with the utmost seriousness. I'm sorry if this was unclear." She then claimed she was challenging the political point scoring around the issue, not the victims themselves. But let's be honest here, when you mock the very mention of grooming gangs, when you reduce it to a joke about dog whistles, you are not defending victims. You are signaling that this topic is politically inconvenient and should be shut down. Even political commentator Tim Montgomery, who was present during the broadcast, later told Sky News that Powell's comments were clearly ill-judged, but also highlighted something even more dangerous: the wider tendency to stifle debate around grooming gangs out of political discomfort. This scandal has exposed a deep rot, and it's not going away. In response to the fallout, Powell's office stressed that she had quickly apologized and clarified her comments were not in any way directed at victims. They added that she had contacted victims privately and would continue to support them. But that wasn't enough to shield her from criticism inside Labour. Health Secretary Wes Streeting went on record not just to condemn the remarks, but to attempt some damage control for a party that has been repeatedly accused of looking the other way when it comes to grooming gangs. Speaking to the media, Streeting said, "I'm really sorry that people have been hurt by what's been said." He also laid out some of the actions the government is taking on the issue, perhaps in a bid to salvage what little trust remains. That includes ordering every police force in England and Wales to re-examine historic grooming gang cases where no action was previously taken. Streeting revealed that the government has now removed time limits that once prevented victims from seeking reviews of their cases. He also mentioned that Louise Casey is conducting an audit into the matter, with a report expected soon. But here's the uncomfortable truth: none of this would even be happening if victims, campaigners, and journalists hadn't spent years forcing the issue into the spotlight, often at great personal cost. Lucy Powell's disgraceful comments didn't just expose her own lack of judgment, they exposed a party that has failed, repeatedly, to put victims first. And if Wes Streeting's public slapdown is any indication, the Labour Party knows this scandal isn't going away quietly. Nor should it. Because if Labour can't even take grooming gangs seriously, what can they be trusted with? In other news, the UK's new car market has declined by 10.4% in April 2025, according to new data, as experts point to car tax charges as a potential deterrent for motorists. The new research from the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, SMMT, marks the sixth fall in the last 7 months, with 120,331 units registered during the month. The continued downturn reflects the fragile economic backdrop and weakened consumer confidence affecting the automotive sector, with 13,943 fewer cars registered compared with the same month last year. Registration levels are now 25.3% behind pre-pandemic April 2019 levels, highlighting the sector's ongoing challenges. In what is traditionally a quieter month following the March number plate change, volumes were further impacted by the late timing of Easter, resulting in fewer working days. Implementation of car tax changes affecting all new cars, including the expensive car supplement, which became applicable to many new EVs from April 1st, also pushed transactions into March as buyers sought to avoid tax increases. In terms of powertrain performance, battery electric vehicles bucked the downward trend, increasing by 8.1% to 24,558 units, and taking more than a fifth of the market. Plug-in hybrids also performed strongly, with registrations up 34.1%. This contrasted sharply with traditional fuel types, as petrol registrations fell by 22% and diesel by 26.2%. John Cassidy, managing director of sales at Close Brothers Motor Finance, commented, "Following a record month for electric vehicle registrations, April has proved to be something of a step back to normality in this regard. Manufacturer discounts on vehicles have fallen slightly, and the introduction of vehicle excise duty and the expensive car supplement on electric vehicles has dampened buyer activity. Despite the growth in electric vehicles, the sector is still falling short of regulatory requirements. Year to date, EVs have reached a 20.7% market share, making them the second most popular powertrain after petrol. However, this remains below the 28% required under the terms of the Zero Emission Vehicle (ZEV) mandate. While the government's recently proposed amendments to the mandate requirements are welcomed by industry experts, the SMMT notes that targets remain incredibly challenging and more must be done to stimulate demand. Mike Hawes, chief executive of the SMMT, said, "April's performance is disappointing, but expected after March's surge. Another month of growth for electric vehicle registrations is good news, however, even if demand remains well below ambition. EV uptake is still being heavily and unsustainably subsidized by the industry, which is why a compelling package of measures from government is essential if consumers are going to make the switch." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.